guys, so in these first two DVDs, what we're going to cover a basic leg transition, right? And when I say that, I mean we're going to start with a single leg X ashigarami position, and we're going to build from there. And ultimately, we're going to transition from the outside attacks to the inside. But along the way, we're going to do with counters. We're going to do with what to do when they do this defense, when they do that defense, right? It's going to be really structured. That, to me, is the best way to learn it. So we're going to practice that for a long time. That's going to develop the skills for us to be efficient and effective at heel hooks, right? We've got to move slowly here. So we're going to use those. That's going to be the basic guide for maybe, I would say, depending on how much you train, even 6 to 12 months. You want to be really effective at that. You want to always know where to go, right? The entries. That's what we're going to work in the second DVD. We're going to look at some interesting positions. You're going to see heel hooks can come up from just about anywhere. Some of those entries are going to take even longer. You're going to have to be really effective at heel hooks, at the basic heel hook, the basic finishes, and at keeping leg control. Keeping leg control, again, that'll be the first DVD. That'll be once we've got a leg, how do we maintain control throughout all the different transitions? And that'll be switching between the first leg and the second leg. Sometimes we attack an outside heel hook on the left, then we switch to an inside on the right. Sometimes we can switch outside to outside. But again, that's basic. The second DVD, the entries, that's going to take a lot more time. We're going to do some entries from the knees. We're going to do some entries from a standing single leg X. This position we're going to cover in depth in DVD 2 is going to be called the reverse X. So that's going to be a relatively new position for most people. Some people would have seen it from single leg X, but very few people have seen it from the butterfly guard position or the half butterfly guard position. If you want to see how I use that, you can look at my matches with Nathan Orchard. I was able to get a reverse X finish on him. And even in the recently against Leandro Lowe, I was able to utilize sort of the reverse X position. So it's like we really have a structured learning phase, and then I want you to make these techniques your own. So we use the drilling period. So when you learn these techniques, obviously you drill them for a long time, that gives you the skills and the movements. That means we can now do the techniques, but we don't have timing. So obviously practice these moves until you can efficiently do them. And then don't take these moves and try it at the higher level opponents. We want to take it to the lower level guys in the gym. And I'm not asking you to go out and apply heel hooks to white belts and try and injure them and stuff, right? What we want to do is we want to practice the entries and the control to develop our timing. So you could drill something for 10 years, right? That means you're going to be really effective at that movement, but that's not going to give you timing. And the way I like to think about it is you could have a perfect move, but if you use it at the wrong time, it's not going to work. You could be pretty okay at a move, but if your timing's perfect, it's still going to work, right? So this is a long process. So take these techniques, practice them until you're efficient at the movement, then take these techniques to lower level opponents. Then we start developing timing, and then we climb the ladder, right? So this is a slow process, right? I don't want you to think that, especially in the way most classes are structured to appeal to a large number of people, where we change techniques every day. You want to be drilling these for a long period of time. That's how you get effective at it. So again, some of the moves are pretty complicated, especially in the second DVD. Don't get frustrated. Expect it to take a long time, and eventually we'll get it down. I'll just add one more thing, guys. There's a lot of contention within the jiu-jitsu community about leg locks as if they're some separate part of jiu-jitsu, and as if the guys that go for leg locks only go for leg locks, and as if the traditional guys only use traditional jiu-jitsu, right? I want to say that the balance is in between, right? Like everyone knows of a backstep heel hook. Like I'm passing the guard and I backstep. If I'm not really trying to pass the guard, it's going to be obvious my intention is to backstep. They'll see it a mile away. So if I am, as the traditional guys say, one-track minded on leg locks, they're actually harder to get. I'm never going to find them, right? If I'm playing guard and I'm just looking for leg locks, guys see that coming, they shut it down, right? If I'm playing I'm trying to sweep, maybe I'm trying to turn things into takedowns, maybe I'm even playing a traditional closed guard position, and I take the leg lock opportunities as they come, rather than just force and only do leg locks, you'll have much greater success, right? So I think leg locks have come in a big way recently, right? So I want to say that they're not something separate to jiu-jitsu. Say when the berimbolo came out, a lot of traditional guys had a problem with the berimbolo. They were like, I don't want to add that to my game. But again, the fact remains, if you're not good at the berimbolo, you're rolling in a gi. A guy that's good at the berimbolo is going to kill you. Even if you're better just about everywhere else in jiu-jitsu, if you have that void in your game, those guys are going to rightfully exploit it. Exactly the same with leg locks. It's easy to say that if I have good fundamentals and good basics that the leg lock attacks won't be there. I agree that is true to a certain extent, but again, if you're not willing to learn that game, you're going to have a void in your game and it's going to be exploited. So you'll see a blue belt that's really good at heel hooks could potentially be a world-class gi black belt. And that's not to say the blue belt's better, it's just to say that there's a hole in the game. And jiu-jitsu is changing all the time. Leg locks are relatively a new thing in terms of how effective they've become. Like, they've always been around. I agree they've always been around, but nowadays guys have really taken it to another level. Just like with the berimbolo evolves every year. So whether you like leg locks or not, you have to add them. It's not something different. It's a part of the game now. So I want you to remember that when you're using what we learned in this DVD. I'm showing purely leg locks in this DVD, right? But if you're only attacking leg locks, easy to see, easy to shut down, right? I want you to add the leg locks to the rest of your game. So when you're trying to pass the guard, maybe you have leg locks in mind, you want to backstep, you want to grab a leg. We're not just going to go for that, we're going to really try and pass the guard, but we're going to really try and force half guard before we make those transitions. And the same from the ground, right? The same from when you're playing guard. I want you to be really attacking sweeps. And in those transitions, you'll find opportunities to enter the leg locks that wouldn't be there had you just been looking for the leg lock positions. I think that's something really important to remember. Obviously, as you're new to leg locks, you want to practice them a lot, you want to use them a lot in rolling, but if you want to make them effective at a higher level, you're going to have to combine them with what you've traditionally been doing or what you've traditionally learned.